Fez is the second largest city of Morocco, with a population of 1.1 million. Fez was the capital city of modern Morocco until 1925, and is now the capital of the Fès-Meknès administrative region. The city has two old medina quarters, the larger of which is Fes el Bali. It is listed as a World Heritage Site and is believed to be one of the world's largest urban pedestrian zones. University of Al-Qarawiyyin, founded in 859, is the oldest continuously functioning university in the world. The city has been called the Mecca of the West and the Athens of Africa. History. Etymology. The Arabic word fas means pickaxe, which legends say Idris of Morocco used when he created the lines of the city. One noticeable thing was that the pickaxe was made from silver and gold. During the rule of the Idrid dynasty, Fez consisted of two cities, Fes el Bali, founded by Idris I, and Al-Aliya, founded by his son, Idris II. During Idrid rule, the capital city was known as Al-Aliya, with the name Fes being reserved for the separate site on the other side of the river. No Idrid coins have been found with the name Fez, only Al-Aliya and Al-Aliya Madinat Idris. It is not known whether the name Al-Aliya ever referred to both urban areas. It wasn't until 1070 that the two agglomerations were united and the name Fes was used for the combined site. Foundation and the Idrids. The city was founded on a bank of the Jafar River by Idris I in 789, founder of the Zaydi Shia Idriside dynasty. His son, Idris II, built a settlement on the opposing river bank. These settlements would soon develop into two walled and largely autonomous sites, often in conflict with one another, Madinat Fes and Al-Aliya. In 808, Al-Aliya replaced Walili as the capital of the Idrids. Arab immigration to Fes, including 800 Andalusi families of Berber descent in 817 to 818, expelled after a rebellion against the Umayyads of Cordoba, Andalusia, and 2,000 Arab families banned from Kairouan after another rebellion in 824, gave the city its Arabic character. The Andalusians settled in what is called the Old Fes, while the Tunisians found their home in the New Fes, also called Al-Aliya. These two waves of immigrants would subsequently give the name to the sites Adwat al-Andalus and Adwat al-Qarawiyyin. The majority of the population was of Arab descent, and the minority was of North African Berber descent, with rural Berbers from the surrounding countryside settling there throughout this early period, mainly in Madinat Fes and later in Fes-Meknès. Upon the death of Idris II in 828, the dynasty's territory was divided among his sons. The eldest, Muhammad, received Fes. The newly fragmented Idrid power would never again be reunified. During Yahya ibn Muhammad's rule in Fes, the Qarawiyyin Mosque, one of the oldest and largest in Africa, was built and its associated University of Al-Qarawiyyin was founded. Comparatively little is known about Idrid Fes, owing to the lack of comprehensive historical narratives and that little has survived of the architecture and infrastructure of early Fes. The sources that mention Idrid Fes describe a rather rural one, not having the cultural sophistication of the important cities of Al-Andalus and Ifriqiya. In the 10th century, the city was contested by the Caliphate of Cordoba and the Fatimid Caliphate of Tunisia, who ruled the city through a host of Zenati clients. The Fatimids took the city in 927 and expelled the Idrisids, after which the Minasa were installed there. The Minasa were driven out of Fes in 980 by the Maghrawa, the fellow Zenata allies of the Caliphate of Cordoba. It was in this period that the great Andalusian ruler Al-Mansur commissioned the Maghrawa to rebuild and refurnish the Al-Qarawiyyin Mosque. giving it much of its current appearance. According to the Rord al-Qiyatas and other Marinid-era sources, the Maghrawi Emir Dunas al-Maghrawi filled up the open spaces between the two medinas and the banks of the river, dividing them with new constructions. Thus the two cities grew into each other, being now only separated by the walls and the river. His sons fortified the city to a great extent. This could not keep the Almoravid Emir Ibn Tashfin from conquering it in 1070. After more than a decade of battling the Zenat warriors in the area and constant besieging of the city, in 1033, several thousand Jews were killed in the Fez massacre. Golden Age and the Marinid period. Madinat Fes and Al-Aliya were united in 1070 by the Almoravid dynasty. The walls dividing them were destroyed, bridges connecting them were built, and connecting walls were constructed that unified the medinas. Under Almoravid patronage, the largest expansion and renovation of the Great Mosque of Kairouan took place. Although the capital was moved to Marrakesh and Tlemcen under the Almoravids, Fez acquired a reputation for Maliki legal scholarship and became an important center of trade. Almoravid impact on the city's structure was such that the second Almoravid ruler, Yusuf ibn Tashfin, is often considered to be the second founder of Fez. Like many Moroccan cities, Fez was greatly enlarged during the Almohad Caliphate and saw its previously dominating rural aspect lessened. This was accomplished partly by the settling there of Andalusians and the further improvement of the infrastructure. At the start of the 13th century they broke down the Idriside city walls and constructed new ones, which covered a much wider space. These Almohad walls exist to this day as the outline of Fes el Bali. Under Almohad rule the city grew to become the largest in the world between 1170 and 1180, with an estimated 200,000 people living there. In 1250 Fez regained its capital status under the Marinid dynasty. In 1276, after a massacre by the population to kill all Jews that was stopped by intervention of the emir, they founded Fes-Meknès, which they made their administrative and military center. Fez reached its golden age in the Marinid period, which marked the beginning of its official historical narrative. It is from the Marinid period that Fez's reputation as an important intellectual center largely dates. They established the first madrasas in the city and country, the principal monuments in the Medina, the residences and public buildings, date from the Marinid period. The madrasas are a hallmark of Marinid architecture, with its striking blending of Andalusian and Almohad traditions. Between 1271 and 1357, 7 madrasas were built in Fez, the style of which has come to be typical of Fassi architecture. The Jewish quarter of Fez, the Mellah, was built in 1438, near the royal residence in Fes-Meknès. The Mellah at first consisted of Jews from Fes el Bali and soon saw the arrival of Berber Jews from the Atlas Range and Jewish immigrants from Al-Andalus. The Marinids spread the cult of Idrisa and encouraged Sharifism, financing Sharifian families as a way to legitimize the rule. For the 14th century onwards, hundreds of families throughout Morocco claimed descent from Idrisa, especially in Fez and the Rif Mountains. In this regard they can be seen as the enablers of the latter Sharifian dynasties of Morocco. The 1465 Moroccan revolt in 1465 overthrew the last Marinid Sultan. In 1474 the Marinids were replaced by the relatives of the Wattasid dynasty, who faithfully continued Marinid policies. Modern period. In the early modern period, the Ottoman Empire came close to Fez after the conquest of Ujda in the 16th century. In 1554, the Wattasid dynasty took Fez with the support of the Turks, and the city became a vassal of the Ottomans, who finally conquered it in 1579 under Sultan Murad III. The Ottoman power in North Africa focused on threats posed by Habsburg Spain and the Kingdom of Portugal. As a result, Fez was not under pressure from the Ottoman rulers. The conquest of Fez was the catalyst for the move of the capital city of the Saudi dynasty to Marrakesh. Early in the 17th century, the town returned to Moroccan control under Ahmad al-Mansur. After the fall of the Saudi dynasty, Fez was a major trading post of the Barbary coast of North Africa. Until the 19th century, it was the only source of fezzes. Then manufacturing began in France and Turkey as well. Originally, the dye for the hats came from a berry that was grown outside the city, known as the Turkish kizilçik or Greek akinya. Fez was also the end of a north-south gold trading route from Timbuktu. Fez was a prime manufacturing location for embroidery and leather goods such as the adaga. The city became independent in 1790, under the leadership of Yazid and later of Abu Arabi Sulayman. In 1795, control of the city returned to Morocco. Fez took part in a rebellion in 1819 to 1821, led by Ibrahim ibn Yazid, as well as in the 1832 rebellion led by Muhammad ibn Tayyib. Following the implementation of the Treaty of Fez, the city was heavily damaged in the 1912 Fez riots. Fez was the capital of Morocco until 1925. Rabat then remained the capital even after Morocco achieved independence in 1956. Despite its traditional character, there is a modern section, the Ville Nouvelle or New City. Today it is a bustling commercial center. The popularity of the Fez has increased since the King of Morocco took a computer engineer from Fez, Salma Benani, as his wife. Place Lala Yadouna at the heart of the Medina is currently undergoing reconstruction and preservation measures following a design competition, sponsored by the Millennium Challenge Corporation and the government of Morocco. The construction projects scheduled for completion in 2016 encompass historic preservation of particular buildings, construction of new buildings that fit into the existing urban fabric and regeneration of the riverfront. The intention is to not only preserve the quality and characteristics of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, but to encourage the development of the area as a sustainable, mixed-use area for artisanal industries and local residents. Climate. Located by the Atlas Mountains, Fez has a Mediterranean climate with a strong continental influence, shifting from cold and rain in the winter to dry and hot days in the summer months between June and September. Rainfall can reach up to 600 mm per year. The winter highs typically reach only 15 degrees Celsius in December to January. The highest and lowest temperatures ever recorded in the city are 46.7 degrees Celsius and -8.2 degrees Celsius respectively. Fez's climate is strongly similar to the one you find in Seville and Córdoba, Andalusia, Spain. Snowfall on average occurs once every 5 years. Subdivisions. The prefecture is divided administratively into the following main sites. Fez is becoming an increasingly popular tourist destination, and many non-Moroccans are now restoring traditional houses as second homes in the Fez. Medina. The most important monuments in the city are Boanania Madrasa, Al-Atarine Madrasa, University of Al-Qarawiyyin, Zawiya Moli Idris II, Dar al-Magana, Ibn Danan Synagogue. Education. Universities. The University of Al-Qarawiyyin is the oldest continually operating university in the world. The Al-Qarawiyyin Mosque was founded by Fatima al-Fihri in 859 with an associated school, or madrasa, which subsequently became one of the leading spiritual and educational centers of the historic Muslim world. It became a state university in 1963, and remains an important institution of learning today. Primary and secondary schools. The city has a French international school, groups Collège Jean de La Fontaine, serving Moyenne section through college. Transport. The city is served by Ses Airport. It also has an ONCF train station with lines east to Oujda and west to Tangier and Casablanca. Sport. Fes has two football teams, Mas Fes and Wydad Fes. They both play in the Botola, the highest tier of the Moroccan football system, and play the home matches at the 45,000-seat Complex Sportif de Fes Stadium. Notable residents: Fatima Al-Fira, Isaac Al-Fizi, Talmudist and Posic. Muhammad XII of Granada, last Moorish king of Al-Andalus. Yazid of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1790 to 1792. Slimane of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1792 to 1822. Abd al-Rahman of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1822 to 1859. Muhammad IV of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1859 to 1873. Hassan I of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1873 to 1894. Abd al-Hafid of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1908 to 1912. Abdulaziz of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1894 to 1908. Muhammad bin Arafat, Sultan of Morocco from 1953 to 1955. Muhammad V of Morocco, Sultan then King of Morocco. Ahmed Barnini, Prime Minister of Morocco from the 13th of November 1963 to the 7th of June 1965. Alal Al-Fassi, politician. Ahmed Sefri Oui, writer. Mohammed Karim Lamrani, Prime Minister of Morocco. Azzedine Laraki, Prime Minister of Morocco from the 30th of September 1986 to the 11th of August 1992. Ahmed Laraki, Premier Minister of Morocco from the 7th of October 1969 to the 6th of August 1971. Ali Squali Houssani, author of the words to the Moroccan national anthem. Kasdi Merba, Algerian politician. Fatima Mernissi, feminist writer and sociologist. Abdul Wahab Dakali, singer. Abdelatif Labi, writer and poet. Joel Santoni, French film director and screenwriter. Taha Ben Jenan, writer and poet. Brahim Lalafi, athlete, long-distance runner. Tariq Seksha, footballer. Princess Lala Salma of Morocco, Princess Consort of Morocco. Mohamed Benis, poet. Jamal Fakir, French international rugby league player. Abdel Tarabit, footballer. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Fes is twinned with Montpellier, France, since 1961. Strasbourg, France, since 1961. Florence, Italy, since 1961. Kairouan, Tunisia, since 1965. Tlemcen, Algeria, since 1969. St. Louis, Senegal, since 1979. Córdoba, Andalusia, Spain, since 1982. Jerusalem, Palestine. Izmir, Turkey, since 1995. Bobo Dioulasso, Burkina Faso, since 2003. Suwon, South Korea, since 2003. Coimbra, Portugal. Lahore, Pakistan. Multan, Pakistan. Puebla City, Mexico. Partnerships Kraków in Poland.